Welcome back to another video about mental health. This time I'm joined by fellow VTuber BlitzyOS. Would you like to
Uh,
introduce yourself?
Hi there, I'm BlitzyOS. I am your new favorite puppy-themed operating software. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, go for it.
Fuck Windows! It only lets me see the mailman. So upgrade to PuppyOS today.
Amazing intro, 10 out of 10.
Thank you.
So straight into the question. What is your personal experience? Are you only mental health or substance use experienced or both?
So my experience with substance abuse mostly relates to the people in my life. I've never experienced it myself. I do like to maybe not psychoanalyze people, but I do like to pick their brains for stuff. So I have some information. I have some experience with that, but my personal experience mostly just relies on a variety of mental health issues. So,
Understandable. Do you want to
did
go
you want to know
into...
what kinds of
Yeah, I was going to
experience with mental
ask
health?
if you wanted to
Yeah,
talk about
it
which
wasn't
ones you
on the
got.
list, Gage. It wasn't on the list, Gage. Yeah. So I have something called an endophagia, which means that I don't have an internal monologue. The way that other people think is they have like a voice running in their head constantly telling them what to do, who to message, what, the this, that, and the other thing. I have none of that. On top of that, I have an aphantasia, bleh, which is a lack of ability to process images. So my brain is literally no thoughts, head empty, constantly. Um,
Amazing. I also have
like
no thoughts.
spastic. Oh, really? Yeah. So there's actually a study that was called, and they started calling it an endophagia. So people who have that, pardon me, don't have the ability to process things quite the way that others do. So if you're told, "Hey, think about what you say before you say it," we're literally unable to do so. So it's something I learned about recently. It's something I want to raise a little bit more awareness for because there just seems to be a consensus among people that being able to think is the default. And then if you don't message people, if you don't remember to do something, uh, if you don't, you know what I mean? The world is built around being able to remember stuff easily or being able to process things, and we're not built for that. So I do try to raise a little bit of awareness for that. I do have some pretty aggressive ADHD that adds on to the forgetfulness as well. And I recently found out I have mild Tourette's. Go figure. um, it's uh, it's not something that I've really seek treatment for, but I have like very occasional motor tics. And it's not something I've talked about publicly yet, but it's something that I do want to get out there. Um, thank goodness I hide behind a VTuber. People don't actually get to see them that often. But yeah. Apparently my sister has it, and I talked to her, and she's like, "Oh, I've known you had it forever." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, you what?" So yeah. Hi, welcome to my slightly broken life. Also, did find out recently as well that I also have CPTSD, which is complex PTSD, whereas PTSD happens to, you know what PTSD is, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know what CPTSD is
Yes,
and the
because
difference
also,
between them? Oh my goodness!
look at
Right.
us
So for
go.
anyone who isn't aware, PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder. One big event like Vietnam War flashbacks. And, everyone knows like that kind of stereotypical image for PTSD. Complex PTSD is a bunch of small events that add up over time that lead to a behavioral shift because of the way that you were essentially abused, right? Even if unintentional.
Yep.
So it's very subtle. It's hard to pick up, and some people just see you as being like meek or like being guarded or but it's very deep rooted, and it's definitely something that needs to be addressed. I feel so.
For sure, which leads me pretty much to the next question. How did you decide to go to treatment, and what type of treatment did you go to first? And did it take you multiple tries?
So ADHD was assessed very young. Um, being obviously trans, I am a trans woman. She, her, hello. But obviously, having been born male, I was able to fairly easily get diagnosed with ADHD because doctors, being misogynistic, I guess, they don't track it in women as easily. So I guess there's a blessing in that regard. And it's been very easy for me to consistently go seek out and get ADHD medications on the condition that I want them. I have tried to drop them a couple of times in my life and then decided that what, it's not I don't prefer, I don't know if I like who I am on these meds, but I also don't think I perform to the degree that I need to off of them. As for the Tourette's, I really don't know if there's anything to fix. The best thing that I've done is I've talked to my sister about it, and she gave me some coping mechanisms. And with the CPTSD, I started as of like a month ago, I think. I started going to therapy because it just started affecting my life way too negatively, too consistently. It was amplifying my already pre-existing, relatively minor depression into something that was heavily affecting my life, and that was the breaking point where I said, yeah, I think I need to go to therapy for this.
Makes sense. Healthy choice. Once it starts impacting your life negatively, that's when we gotta get treatment.
Yeah.
So, you pretty much answered, but I'm gonna ask anyway. How did you decide? No. What was your primary reason for seeking treatment? Do you have multiple reasons, or have your reasons changed over time?
I feel like this is the same as the last question, or at least mildly redundant. But the primary reason was, again, the depression was just I was slight trigger warning. Skip ahead maybe 10 seconds. I was getting suicidal thoughts, pretty aggressively for a while, and I decided that I can't live like this.
I'm glad you got help, bro. Like, seriously, that shit's no joke. But in your treatment, what's been your experience with medication? Like, did somebody talk with you about meds? Did you have a choice of taking anything versus not? Were you pressured at any point to take them?
So the only thing that I've actually taken medication for is um, ADHD. And when I was young, no, I didn't really have a choice. We were just told, yeah, put them on this, and there I was. Around 8th grade, I believe, I made the decision to go off of medication because I didn't like. I don't know. I felt like I don't know if I was burning myself out from the amount of productivity I was doing, or if I just didn't feel like I was able to have fun or whatever. I was on Ritalin at the time.
Mm.
So Ritalin, all ADHD medication can act differently. But then when I went to high school, I was suggested to be put back on, but instead of a short release like Ritalin, I was put on a long release called Concerta. Sorry.
Mm.
And so Concerta was actually great for me. It was a long release that I just took one in the morning, and it lasted all day. I didn't need to go to like the nurse's office to have them give me the other half tab like I used to with Ritalin. I think that was a lot of the reason why I stopped doing it. Is I felt embarrassed. I'd have to go out, off at lunch away from my friends and go to the nurse's office. But one tab in the morning, boom, whole day. And then when I moved to the UK to marry my wife, I have not been able to get it. Low key, she has enough to where I can occasionally take a tab or two, um, and focus on the art that I need to focus on, or focus on the script, because we do the devlogs for our Sonic fan game every week. So I can take a tab once in a blue moon and be like, okay, cool, let me focus on this thing. And then, yeah, I want to go back on medication because I can tell that I'm just a more productive person on it than off. But I have had choices in my life, and I've come to the conclusion that I want to stay on it.
Good shit. Hopefully, you can get on a med that helps. I don't know how things are in the UK, obviously, but hopefully there's something you can do.
We'll figure it out. I'll be fine.
So, next up, is being involved in the community important when in some form of recovery, or if you have other support, like family or friends who are aware and supportive, is that enough? Again, everyone's different, and what they need is different. Just generally speaking, in your personal opinion as someone with lived experience.
Mm, what, being in the community of people who have that mental health issue? Or are you talking about being in the VTuber community?
Mental health.
I'm not really in any like mental health communities. The best thing that I have is that I have my sister who explained to me the issue that we both share about Tourette's, um, and that was a life changer. And then my wife also deals with a good amount of CPTSD as well. So I think having someone in your life is essential. Though I don't know if I can't speak from experience if a community is something that is beneficial or not.
No worries. Thank you. For those that have a negative view of any form of treatment, be it therapy, meetings, rehab itself, what would you say to someone if they told you they had to go to a mandated treatment? And this is presuming this is a person you're relatively close with or someone that trusts you enough to tell you that kind of thing.
I can say from experience of watching other people around me that rehab works. Um, I know that this is more substance abuse than mental health, but with substance abuse in particular, my mom was a pretty bad alcoholic and went to rehab. I couldn't even tell you when it happened. Honestly, is how long ago it was. Uh, she went to rehab and she came back basically a changed woman. She doesn't she that the those like intense alcoholic cravings and tendencies are not as prevalent anymore, and I think it is what saved the relationship between me and my mother. And if anyone else is struggling with mental health or with substance abuse, I do think seeking professional help is the best course of action that you can take in your life.
Well said, thank you. I think you technically answered this, but I've got like three questions wrapped into this one. So, did you go to therapy? Was it by choice? Did you have more than one therapist throughout your time in recovery? Are you still in therapy? And do you feel like you will ever finish being in therapy, or do you think you'll always be in it, even if your frequency is low?
So I've gone to therapy twice. Once was about a decade ago. That was not by choice, and I barely cooperated with the psychiatrist at the time. That was not good. I do think therapy is a personal choice that you have to make because I made the choice this time on my own. My therapist this time, lovely. I am willing to tell her anything and everything. I am a completely open book with her, and she's been nothing short of just wonderful. However, she has had to acclimate to the fact that I don't have an internal monologue. All of the typical types of therapy that she works with typically involve some form of like imagery or like going back into the memory, and I can't do that. So it's interesting. Yes, I am still in therapy. I've only had my second session with her last Saturday. I believe I have my third one this week. Um, but I do think that I'll be going to therapy probably for the rest of my life, even if in a significantly reduced capacity. Once just to check in and be like, oh yeah, all of this has happened. How do we process this? Because I think in feelings and not in thoughts. So if I'm able to ask someone from on the outside who's experienced how to process these feelings, um, then I'll get a better insight about myself and my life. And I feel like that's just an important tool to have going forward for as long as possible, you know?
Yeah, makes sense. Gotta have that objective third party.
Yeah.
So I feel like this probably won't matter much to you, but have you ever done group therapy? And how did you feel about it at that time and now? And have you ever sought group
I
therapy on your own?
I can answer this very succinctly by saying that I have no experience with group therapy and don't think that it'd be something that I would be interested in.
Fair enough. Next up, we got relapse, whether it's mental health or substance happens. How do you or did you react at different times in your recovery? How did you and those around you, if you had supports, handle it? Like I said, relapse happens, but how did you return to your recovery after that? You can be as detailed or not as you like.
I don't think I've ever had to deal with relapse as such because I'm only just starting to seek mental health therapy itself. For mental health related issues. I've never dealt with substance abuse. There's been no issues with Ritalin or Concerta or methylphenidate, the ADHD medicines, and I don't know enough about my Tourette's to even begin seeking help, let alone trying to. So I don't think I can particularly answer this question.
No worries. I just figured I'd ask.
No, no, that's fine. I'm just,
Yeah.
yeah.
How
I don't want to give answers based on things that I don't understand.
that is totally fair. So, favorite question for you. How has transitioning affected your mental health? Whether that's medically, socially, or both. How has your mental health been affected? And if so, has your mental health been affected? And if so, how?
I feel feelings. Oh my god, when I started transitioning, I felt the most intense emotions I have felt in my life. I still do. Everything hits harder. I jumped to crying a lot faster than I jumped to anger prior. I still have those moments where I have explosive like emotions. Found out that's normal. Everything gets like amplified a little bit, especially when you go like um, male to female. You start to be much more in tune with your emotions and how you actually feel about things. You don't suppress them as intensely. Um, so I cry a lot more than I used to. Um, I cry for appreciation. I cry because I'm sad. I cry because I'm frustrated. I cry because I'm overwhelmed. And that's not the only thing. I feel happiness more intensely too. I feel that, and it's something I'm working on. I feel that anger much more like snap explosion, right? It's actually to the point that I've had such a hard time identifying what my emotions are that my therapist gave me a wheel that in the center has sad, happy, surprised, bad, fearful, angry, and disgusted, but then further breaks those down. So let's take like happy, right? There's playful, content, interested, proud, accepted, powerful, peaceful, trusting, or optimistic. But then if we want to break down like playful can be brought down into like aroused or cheeky. If you want to break down proud, it's like successful or confident. If you want to break down like peaceful, it's like loving or thankful. So there's this wheel that I got that helps me break down what I'm feeling. And I feel like yeah, that's definitely affected my mental health because like how do I deal with all these emotions and how did I deal with all these emotions before getting this tool to help me figure them out?
I'm very familiar with the feelings wheel as a
Really?
counselor.
Oh, hell yeah. No, I love the feelings wheel. It's so useful. But yeah, no, it's everything just feels so much stronger than it used to.
Good shit.
But I couldn't be happier with who I am as a person, and what I have as a body. Right? I feel like I've been blessed by with genes. If you go find my pictures on Twitter or Blue Sky, hi, I'm pretty. Um, but I feel like me, and when I'm not, staring down the barrel of a proverbial gun on like social media because people are hating on trans people again, I feel content in my body, and I feel like that's done wonders for my actual mental health
Hell yeah.
as like a baseline.
Thank you for sharing. So, next up, do you think it really gets easier with time? Have you had an easier time as time has gone on, as you're more used to this stuff?
I think less about it being more used to the stuff. I think more about finding coping mechanisms and ways to deal with things healthily. Um, like I wouldn't say like that I would get more used to it. Well, like, a little bit, but yeah, it gets more easy with time because you develop tools in order to be able to handle these things. So I don't know. In terms of like the mood swings that I got early transition, I mean that's just puberty. So yeah, technically I get more used to it over time, but um, things with the actual mental health issues that I have, my CPSD didn't start to get better until I seeked mental health services about it, a mental health professional about it. My stuff with the Tourette's didn't get better until I asked my sister about it, and she helped me figure out some coping mechanisms that she used. So I think it gets easier as you develop and find tools to handle things, not just as a baseline getting more used to it.
Well said, thank you. So you pretty much lead right into my next question. What are your most utilized and or favorite coping skills?
So with the Tourette's, my sister actually told me it's motor based Tourette's. It's like shakes. It's like head, the head shakes in a certain way. It's like eye blinks. It's like there's this certain thing that I do where I exhale from my nose in a certain way, but in the way that I do it ends up hurting my throat if I do it enough. So I have to really try not to. And the best I've been told that the best way to deal with that is to not think about it. So find something that you enjoy doing. For her, it's singing and playing piano, and that helps reduce the intensity of that. Um, with the CPTSD, it's like when I recognize that I'm having a spiral break. Oh, I also have something called RSD. Or wait, no, what is it? What is that called? Rejection sensitivity disorder.
Mm.
Um, and that is very closely tied with ADHD. And I can tell when I'm spiraling, or someone gave me some tools to tell me that when I'm spiraling, the easiest thing or the best thing to do is to cut it off as quickly as possible. Just before you can spiral and say that, oh, they hate me because of this, that, blah 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 blah. Just cut yourself off from the situation so that way you don't like spiral into a horrible depression. Um, so each of these has its own mechanisms. I think the only ones I can consistently rely upon, at least as far as what I know, is I don't really know how to deal with the CPSD. But the RSD is cut it off before you can spiral, and then the Tourette's is find something to distract yourself with
Good
that you enjoy
shit.
doing.
You've already answered this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Do you discuss your mental health issues with any of your friends or family?
I tried to with my mom. She's not the kind of person you want to talk about this stuff with. So do be careful about who you talk to in your family. Um, but if you find someone who's like my sister, who does understand and does take mental health very seriously, they can be an invaluable person to talk to about your problems.
Makes sense. So, if there was one thing you could impart to someone considering treatment, what would it be?
If you think you need it and you have the means to go pursue it, please do that because your mental health is something often overlooked but incredibly, incredibly valuable. So please take care of that as soon as you possibly can.
Well said. Thank you, Blitzy, and as always, life is a terrible thing, but we're in it together, yeah?